Oh, yo, 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 yo. Oh, yo, came up from the struggle, now we stacking chips. Black Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich. Donnie Glover Show, watch us shift the switch. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle when the real ones come. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Talking black excellence, ain't no exclusivity. History in making, reclaiming our divinity. Brick by brick, rebuilding our community. Donnie Glover Show, celebrate unity. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real ones come. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. From the boardroom to the streets, we making waves. Business minds running, new paths paved. Politicians listen, they know we the brave. Black Wall Street dreams rising from the grave. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the
we have some stars in the building.
Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Oh yo, oh yo, oh yo.
We'd like to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Special thank you to our executive producer of Be More News in Niagara, Mr. Emmanuel Price. We're up here this is the New York side, and that's the Canadian side, and we will be there for the New Year's dropping of the ball or somewhere around here. Very beautiful Niagara Falls, some of the best water in the world. So make sure you get out, get your passport, and do some traveling. And keep watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Welcome to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Here on the Atlantic, Mississippi, with our very dear friend Corey Mathis. A beautiful town, New Orleans. Keep watching BeMoreNews.com. We're going to give you an update. 10 years since Katrina. The news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich.
Quite a theme song. Good morning, Tiger.
Hey, how you doing?
Good morning.
You got my beautiful sister Marsha on here.
I had to make you smile this morning.
Hey, she makes me smile.
Brother Danny, Marsha Jews.
Good morning, brother.
Hey, Miss Jews. Good morning, Mr. Tiger.
How you doing?
Hey.
Doing well, thank you.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I was
Hey,
trying to find this clip. I had it all pulled up. And that's Pharaoh.
hey, Pharaoh. Hey, Pharaoh. Pharaoh.
They said hello. Go chill. Okay. So, anybody got any thoughts on what's happening in this country? Tiger, I know your time is limited. Have you ever seen times like this before? The chief, the Joint Chiefs of Staffs, he gets fired. They bring in, I won't call a guy a nobody, but they bring in an off-brand. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a bit of a process. Then you got the rounding up of El Salvadorans. And then, I was speaking to a guy yesterday, a black man. He said, well, he said he was going to round up people, but the judge said, don't fly. Don't fly them out of here. And they did. They sent 2 plane loads and then a third. You've got the raiding of agencies in Washington, D.C. by Elon Musk's, they call them the Doge Boys. They're running roughshod. They don't get in the building. They come back the next day. They got sheriffs. They've got FBI agents. And so they've kind of shanghaied law enforcement. Is this normal, Tiger?
Listen, Donald Trump is doing just what he said he was going to do, which all of those folks who supported him were blinded by their racial stupidity, you know. And so now he's going to do what he said he was going to do.
Right.
And those folks who voted for him are going to be hurt, and they're going to feel that pain. You know, and so basically that's in a nutshell. You got to give a man credit. He didn't lie. He told you what he was going to do. He said on day one he was going to become a dictator. So you got to respect him for telling the truth. You know, because people are stupid and don't want to accept the truth, that's on the people. And that's mine, Donnie.
My Andrew said, when somebody tells you...
Before we get into that too heavy, okay, let me take this moment to pay tribute to all the great Black women of this world, and especially those in these United States of America, okay? Because when I look back, and I want to thank certain people, if you allow me that privilege, Edna Cummings took up the issue of the triple nickel. I'm sorry, the 688.
Right.
We in the Black Veterans Movement here in Baltimore been working with that for over 40 years. But we was fighting with many different issues. She came in and focused just on that, and look at what she's done with it, okay? In just a matter of a few years. And her book is coming out, I think it's May 3rd on the 688. And I want you to remember that. Another book already out, and I went to a book review on that about a week ago. Pia Jordan, she was in the journalism department at Morgan State University, but she's living in Florida right now. Her mother was a Tuskegee Airman nurse.
Oh, wow.
And she wrote the book on that called Tuskegee Nurses. Now, beyond that, we can look at, before we leave World War II, I want folks to focus in on Black Rosie the Riveter. Whenever they show those pictures, they show the white woman with her armor. Hey, man, Black women were out there making aircraft, doing everything them white women was doing. So we like to focus on Black Rosie the Riveters, okay? And we want our people never to forget all that we have done to build this country. Now, also World War II, we want to remember all those Black mothers who lost sons over there. They're always talking about Saving Private Ryan and all that stuff. Well, you know, one of the, I'm trying to think of a name. Oh, Blackwell. Mother Blackwell here in Baltimore has 6 sons on active duty. One was a Tuskegee Airman. Denver Blackwell landed at Normandy on D-Day. You know, 6 sons. But hey, they want to talk about Private Ryan. We got our stories to talk about too, and it is our responsibility to tell that story. This is why I try to get everybody to take a subscription to the Afro. It only costs $100 a year to get it online and to get the hard copy.
Now, you said that, Tiger Davis, because BeMoreNews.com, as a Black news outlet, we have a big event coming up June 27th, so people can support our cause.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we cover news.
Yeah, well, I get to that.
Nobody covers right here in real time. So
I got you.
The Afro, but you want to plug BeMoreNews.com first.
All right, look, I'm with that, but remember this: the Afro got archives. We
got archives. I got you.
Dating back over 100 years now.
I got you, but we documenting it now.
Okay, no, we'll get to that in a minute.
I'm going to tell you, self-preservation is the first law of nature there,
and I'm going to make sure you're preserved. Look, you're one of my young poet brothers. But look, I read the Pittsburgh Courier every day. Okay, I read every issue that comes
Well, let's
out.
put a plug out there since you went there. Philadelphia Tribune.
Okay, but I'm just telling you what I do. Okay, but look, here, all of the things I talk about are in those archives of the Afro, and we don't want to lose that. Okay, now moving beyond that, we need to fast forward to things like say Michelle Howard.
This is the Donnie Glover show now. All right.
I know, but I got to pay tribute to my sisters, man. That's all. Hey, because
I thought you was gonna mention some people like. Okay, well, all right.
All right, no, look, Michelle Howard, the first female, not first black, but first female 4-star admiral in the Navy who commanded that whole fleet over there in the Indian Ocean.
Danny, you got
we
feedback.
gotta talk
That's why I
about our
put you on
sister
mute.
warriors, and then I'm gonna wrap it up in 30 seconds, okay? And then when we come here locally, we got to look at all those command sergeant majors. Pelissa Con Wilson, I think she was probably Carver around your time. Great command sergeant major, the top soldier in the Maryland National Guard. We got to remember people like Command Sergeant Major Gloria Dent from Aberdeen Proving Ground. All of these people are out here in the world working today to make things better, for black people. And then, finally, and this is it, all those black females who broke open the ranks of general in the United States Army, Navy, and now the Marine Corps. Hey, my hat's off to all of my sister warriors, and I could not continue talking without talking about sisters. This is Women's History Month, and we need to begin to focus on our sisters who are the greatest women in these United States of America, if not the world. I'm done. Now we can get back to the topic.
Okay, but you know what? Before you do that, I want to say this in reference to what you just said, Tiger.
Welcome to the Tiger Davis and Marsha Jews show.
But there, with the Black Engineer of the Year Awards Conference coming up, the Women of Color is going to be in Baltimore in October, and the Black Engineer was in February. We have a lot of new Black female generals in the military, and so that will circle back. But yeah, we're doing a lot with women.
Yeah, them sisters are bad.
Yes, 1 and 2 stars.
I guess like you Tiger all over the internet. Anyway, why don't you shout out your
brothers?
Hold up, Tiger. Hold up. You take over artists. Tiger, why don't you shout out your mom and your grandmom?
Well, here's what, when I talk about my family, I talk about my great grandparents mostly because they're the ones who nurtured me when I was a kid, because all of them had been born slaves.
Oh, okay, well, shout them out.
All right. Shout out Grandma Flora on my daddy's side and Grandma Ma Alice on my mother's side, because they took care of me when I was a kid. Now, remember this, everybody that was 80 years old or above when I was a kid, they had been born slaves.
Wow.
Now, so these were the people who nurtured my generation. This is why my generation that came out of high school around 1960 is different, whole lot different than those who came later, because all we ever knew was segregation. And we also were nurtured by some of the greatest women in the world. On my father's side, none of Grandma Flora's children were sharecroppers. They were always independent farmers because she believed in that kind of independence. Now, on my father's side, it was a little bit different because they was all sharecroppers, and that was that little class distinction. Because, the folks on my father's side, they want them to marry my mother's side because they were sharecroppers kind of thing. But when we were kids, they was too old to go to the cotton fields. So they took care of us young kids, and they taught us, boy, you got to be twice as good. They told us about a black man inventing the cotton gin, all that kind of old stuff that fortified us mentally against slavery. And so we grew up against slavery or segregation and discrimination. We
Is that
grew
where
up.
the class system started? Your grandmother was a sharecropper. Well, my grandmother worked for herself.
Well, that was class distinctions within the Black community, and we need to recognize that there were class distinctions, and there was also a distinction based on the color of your skin in the Black community, because some of our people had accepted the white man's notion that the lighter your skin, the better you are.
Black is back, white is right, and tan is grand.
Yeah. Hey, and Black get back. But
Did you ever have the paper bag test? Did you ever go somewhere and somebody pulled out a paper bag and say, "Put your hand out"?
No. I've never done that. I think people were too afraid to play certain kind of games with me. Look, I didn't get that nickname Tiger at 14 years of age.
Just because you're dark skin don't mean you can
play
fight
games with me now. Okay.
Y'all funny.
Just because you're light skin don't mean you can't fight. Because I done see some light skin people whoop some butt, and I see some dark skin people get their butt whipped.
Yeah, but our folks told us, look, if we went out and competed with white folks, we couldn't come home without victory. Okay, not being number one was unacceptable. This is why when you take a look at Morgan's lacrosse team, everybody wanted to play us because blacks don't play lacrosse, right? This is back in the early 70s. And we went out and whipped the number one team in the country. Why? Because we would not allow white folks to outdo us in anything. I don't care if we were shooting marbles, playing tiddlywinks, jacks, or pity pat. White folks were not going to beat us in anything. And if they did, then we had to be ashamed. Now, that was our mentality.
Okay, all right. I'm getting ready to tiger my show back.
Take us back to your show. All right.
Marsha Jews, have you ever seen a president this off the hook?
Well, look, Ronald Reagan.
I'm getting ready to speak. I'm getting ready to speak.
Marsha.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marsha.
That's quite all right. I have seen a lot of madness, but not to this. This is out of control. This is out of control. But we already knew that he had issues years ago, just in being in a corporate environment. He has always had and has presented himself as being rich and powerful, and had no problem exploding in front of anybody, anywhere. He has no rein on his mouth. He's filthy rich, and he uses that power to destroy any and everything, and people listen to him. This man is dangerous. He is certifiable and does not represent this country well at all. Does not represent. And he has this other dude with him who now, these are two filthy rich white boys who have power. They're sitting on Pennsylvania Avenue. He's still got his little cap on, like he's still driving a motorcycle or something. He's representing this nation. He's gotten rid of the people over in the Pentagon. These are dangerous, dangerous times, and nobody wants to really deal with how insane this man and his little pet are. Normally, you see something where people are dealing in a professional manner. It's not John F. Kennedy. I'm looking at somebody who literally says anything, shoots from the hip whenever he decides to. My fear is you have the capacity, you and your little Elon fool, you have the capacity to hit any of those buttons to create a World War V. And nobody's dealing with the truth. Been a black man sitting over there. Obama didn't behave like this. It's out of control. These people are power hungry, they're filthy rich, and they're insane.
Danny, let you get a word in, but I just want to say, had Michelle Obama been out there showing her naked body, they would have called her all kinds of names. But this woman does it, Mrs. Trump. And white people justify it. Not all white people, because there's some decent, good white people in this country. But there's some who got to step up. Edmund Burke said, Danny, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
Yes. The power of the vote. That's where we are, guys. It's the power of the vote.
Suppose he stole it.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's
the power of the perception of the vote.
90 million people didn't vote in this election.
That's what they say. I don't believe nothing no more.
Well, that's what they say. 90 million people. It's like a lot of folks stayed home. A lot of folks didn't think that it was going to make a difference. But you got to believe what happened the first time the guy was in office. The guy's very vindictive. He made it very clear what he was going to do. He campaigned for the last 3 years prior to the election.
In Carroll County, they like him. They love him.
Well, that's red. It's all about power, privilege,
right,
and and control. And that's what it's all about. Donald Trump has taken this thing to a whole nother level. We seen him the first time, but this is like on steroids. This man,
honey, he says he's a dictator.
That's it.
Listen, have any of you ever read Rise and Fall of the Third Reich? When I was in the military, there are 2 books I read in their entirety. One was Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. The other was the Bible. And let me tell you something. What we're witnessing right now is worse than Hitler. Okay? It's worse than Hitler. Now, we got to stop trying to intellectualize this. This is what it is.
Right.
This is Hitlerism, fascism, all over.
All of the above.
It's based on race.
Yes.
Like Hitler wanted to wipe out all the homosexuals, gypsies, and everything else in the world. No. This is just the beginning. Now, what we have to focus on is we have an election coming up in 2026. We've got to take back the Senate, and we have to take back the House. And we got to stop playing games within our politics. Let me give you an example of the stupidity and the leadership of the Democratic Party. In Mississippi, 41% of the population is black. 41%. Now, I know black folks ought to be able to find some white boy that can get some white votes whereby we can take the governorship of Mississippi and that Senate seat of Mississippi. We're 41% black. But see, our perception of black power is that we have to have a black person in office. No. What we have to do is have somebody in office that we can reasonably control or have some influence with. That is black power. We understood that back in the late 60s. But now Mississippi, for the Democratic Party, it shows you how weak and stupid they are. 41%. Huh? And then look, another 10% is Latino, Asian, and Native American.
He just sent half of the Hispanics away. He just sent half of them back to South America or Mexico.
And good riddance.
Yeah.
Good riddance.
That's right. That's right. Let's give a shout out to Henrietta Lacks.
Yeah.
They had a
Yes,
wonderful event over at Morgan State University. I lived in Turner Station. I know the Lacks as well. And of course, they did the statue and a tribute. But let's give her a big shout out because she was absolutely a phenomenal human being. And I was so glad to see her families that stayed in the trenches when they didn't think that they were going to be there and continue to fight for her. And they were successful.
My apologies for not being out there Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
I had told Courtney Speed I would try to get out there. But now look, speaking of which, there's some interesting things down in Turner Station we need to focus on. Some of those people like Courtney Speed and those folk down there feel as though they're left alone down there.
Well, let me interject.
Yeah. What's going on down there? What's going on down there? Share with us.
Yeah, and it's really bad about that because, I am on the Central Committee. I'm on the Baltimore County Democratic State Central Committee. And one of the biggest things that we have been doing since I've gotten on there is to make sure we go down to places like Turner Station because a lot of them feel like they're not even being, thought of or cared for or at all. And it's been that way for years. And it's sad. And it's like, as you said, it's the Democratic Party responsibility to get those folks out there. And they have folks that are out there that are elected that aren't really doing what they're supposed to do. So we need to keep that thing on the fire because they need as much support out there as they can get because they feel left alone out there, for sure.
Yes, they are.
So is that part of the city? I don't know where it is. I've never been.
Well, it's actually the area.
Yeah.
But you've got people who come out of Turner Station like Kwaish and Fume. What's a football player whose son played basketball? Calvin Hill. And his son Grant Hill. Calvin is out of Turner Station. You have some of the greatest people, but then you had a guy down there named Osceola Smith, one of the greatest human beings to ever live. He come home from World War II. Kids didn't have nothing. He put together athletic programs and football, baseball, basketball, and all of that stuff. Now, and he produced some of the greatest human beings, not just athletes, but human beings, because he was a great, great coach and a great man. No one remembers him. His son coached at, I think it was, a Southern High School? Yeah, I think his son coached at Southern High School, and he's gone now, but because his son went to Maryland State. That was one of them things we always had a lot of little fun with. But some of the greatest people I know come out of Turner Station. And now Turner Station is left to itself down there. Nobody cares. They got a VFW post down there, which was a great post that they turned it over to the Black community and Courtney Speed, and they don't know what to do. They can't get no grant money to revive it and all that. And it's a historical post. And so, like I told Courtney, I said, look, Courtney, I'll come down there. In fact, I think sometime within the next 2 weeks, I'm supposed to go down there to talk to her about grants and what she could do to revive some of the things that they've done down there. They got great churches down there.
Okay, Tiger.
Everything come out of Turner Station.
Tiger, we got Alice Toriente on the line.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I hear you talking about sports, but I tell you, I got a blowback this morning. The current administration has decided to scrub Medgar Evers' military service off of the Arlington Cemetery site. They have also taken Jackie Robinson information off of the Department of Defense site. And so these are great giants in our history. And this is what they've done. I had a lot of stuff on my mind to talk about this morning. But when I saw this and found out about this diversity, equity, and inclusion business, it's just gone a bit too far. They are really trying to erase our total history.
Well, you're absolutely correct, because one of the things they scrubbed also we have I'm trying to think of the 2-star general's name, Black. He was a Medal of Honor recipient from the Vietnam War. Now they just scrubbed his name as well. Okay, a 2-star general, Medal of Honor recipient. Now, and you're talking about administration that's headed by a draft dodger, a convicted felon, and rapist and thief. You know, a certified thief. Okay, and we allow him. Now, here's what's happening. Just to give you a little heads up. My brother James Maddox out there in California, he's MSW. You know, he and I work together in the Black Social Workers, but he's also Vietnam vet. He has challenged the National Veterans of Foreign Wars and the national leadership of Vietnam Veterans of America to stand up and come out and say something, or we're going to have to walk. Okay, because we cannot allow him to scrub all of our history away like that. And if they don't have the courage to stand up, then hey, we don't have no time for them. Now that his name is James Maddox, and the VFW seem to be responding to it, but VVA is slow to respond. So we've got some serious problems because look, if we're going to belong to these organizations, then y'all gonna have to stand up for what's right and stop.
Danny, you went.
In the world, could any veteran support this man who referred to us as suckers and we were losers while he was dodging or fraudulently evading the draft? Okay, now
come on. Let's pass the ball. Okay, Danny, you were in the military, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm retired military, and I'm actually a commissioner for Veterans Affairs in Baltimore County. Yeah. So a lot of this stuff that's happening is disgrace. And we need to be shouting from ear to ear and doing something as much as we can to bring this to the forefront so that we can stop it. It's a disgrace. It is a disgrace. And everybody should be up in arms. The NAACP, the Irving League, all these organizations that promote Blackness needs to be out there shouting from a bullhorn to bring this to a halt. It's disgraceful.
Come on, Alice.
They have also taken the Iwo Jima, the information regarding Iwo Jima. They've taken that, they moved that as well from the Department of Defense. I mean, I can't believe it. I had a whole bunch of other things on my mind this morning, but you guys happen to be talking about sports, and so, you know, this is what came to my mind, you know, about what they were doing with Jackie Robinson and all the stuff with Arlington Cemetery, the Department of Defense. It just blew me away.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, let me say goodbye to you all.
And they got rid of,
But I apologize, I've got to go because I'm due to bury one of our brothers from the United States Navy. We consider the Navy military too. We got it buried by the Garrison Forest. So I'm due out there in 45 minutes. So I've got to go. But listen, I look forward to talking to you all soon. Hey, Danny, we're going to have to try to hook up, okay?
Absolutely, man.
We want to talk about, okay?
Yeah, get Doni.
I love you as always. God bless. Take care now.
God bless you, baby.
I
also wanted to just acknowledge the fact that we had a 4-star general who was the Secretary of Defense, General Lloyd Austin, that the boy removed.
Wow.
Trump is dangerous. He's dangerous.
Yes, he is.
Lloyd Austin has the best, not only best spirit, but brilliant man. And we have allowed Trump and his pet, Elon. It's like his little pet dog. And this is who we have said that it's okay that Donald Trump stays in that White House. This is dangerous. And the hatred that he has is going to create some real negative experiences coming out of some of these countries that are not going to allow this behavior, and how he talks about them and disrespects other people from other nations. This is a scary time, and we need to really be dealing with this truth.
Here's a question for you, Aunt Alice.
Yeah.
When you think of Russia, have you ever imagined a U.S. president being so cozy with a Russian president?
And solicitous, not only cozy, but solicitous. No, I have not. They had this long conversation yesterday, and Trump has still wants to put some what do I say, some things on Ukraine. They have not agreed totally on what's going to happen with the Ukraine. But the other thing that we haven't talked about is what a security risk Elon Musk may be, because he's got all kinds of ties with China and some of these other countries. So he too could be a security risk, along with Tulsi Gabbard. Some of the people, that's one of the people that Trump insisted would be in his cabinet. So we have a lot of things to keep our eyes on.
So Danny, when you look at China, if you owe China money, if you're doing business with China, they require you to share state secrets. Could they be putting pressure on Elon Musk?
I tell you.
Yeah. I mean, you talking about sharing secrets. You're talking about
state secrets.
State secrets.
This man has access to private information in the United States. He's doing business. He owes China money. Well, he has no loyalty to the United States. Treason
or anything else.
That's right. I mean, the man has no right to be in that seat and have that kind of power and authority, and to be causing us to, at any moment in time, to be in a war. Things could get that bad. I mean, pulling away and changing the deals that he had with Ukraine, and Russia, and once Ukraine gave away their missiles and nuclear missiles and stuff like that, they were supposed to be, supporting them, and what did they do? They just reneged, and now Putin has the upper hand, and that's just the beginning.
Marsha Jews, Tyrone Taborn, and Career Communications Group just had their BEA. I think this is the 39th year of the BEA conference featuring Black engineers. And the Trump administration pulled back monies and the military couldn't show up. Tell us about that. And they are a sponsor of this show.
Yeah, the sad part about it is that the Black Engineer of the Year Awards conference is 30-something years old, and they have every general attends. There's a whole program surrounding Stars and Stripes, and so those are all flag officers that participate, and they shut all of that down. As a matter of fact, normally the Stars and Stripes banquet is full at the convention center. That banquet hall, you can't get a seat. There were so many empty seats. It was heartbreaking. And so you look at all of the people, a lot of those corporations were in the convention, in the career fair. A lot of those businesses did not show up, or a lot of their staff left. And so you're looking at the impact that this has on thousands, literally thousands of young Black children, Black middle work, or presidents of you just name it. I'm sitting here because I'm trying not to be aggravated. You're talking about Lockheed Martin, General Motors, IBM, the top Fortune 100, 500 corporations in this nation. And normally they are all at that conference. They are literally there hiring people who look like us. They have it all set up where their booths with pipe and drape is all set up where they can go and get an interview for a job and get hired on the floor. So when you sit down and you look this and you give children an opportunity to actually see tanks and helicopters on the exhibit hall floor. So, it gives our children the ability to see themselves there, to be in those environments. And it's heartbreaking. And I've worked with them for years. And to see that happen, it was painful. It was painful.
Auntie Alice, Danny talked about some of the things being pulled back on. Help me out, Aunt Alice. What are your thoughts?
Being pulled back as far as DEI is concerned, or
yes,
in general. I mean, it's just. They are trying to completely erase our history, and we cannot allow that to happen. We've got to be on top of that.
Look. Danny also talked about Chuck Schumer. Well, he talked about the Democrats. He talked about the Democrats not fighting back. What do you think of Chuck Schumer there, Ani?
Chuck Schumer is catching HELL. In fact, the Democratic Party is split. AOC jumped on his case regarding the fact that he gave in. He was on trying to give his rationale for why he went along with what the Republicans wanted in the budget. Now, this budget is only going to take place until September. In September, they're going to have to go back and do it again. So in my humble opinion, we have to be looking at what's going to happen in the long haul. Because the thing is, yes, it's only going to be good until September. They've got to do it again in September. But what we don't have the numbers elected in the Democratic Party. So what we need to be doing is looking at what we're going to be doing in the midterm. Because quite a few of the Republicans are up for election during the midterm. So there needs to be a plan for that. As we look at the town halls that they have been given, they've been catching HELL. And so much so that they have been, some of the Republicans have said they should not be having town halls anymore because the people have been jumping all over them. And many, and these town halls are being held by Republicans. And I mean, that one from Asheville, North Carolina, they showed that about 1 million times. And one of the people in that town hall had to be escorted out by the police. And that is a red district. And so so we really need to be looking at what we plan to do, what kind of structures and what kind of plans we're going to have to try to get the numbers up in the Democratic Party so that this administration can get through some of the things that they're trying to do.
Yep.
Danny, what do you think about that? We need to be gearing up for the midterm.
Absolutely.
What we can't win.
Yeah, I mean that's our biggest. That's the only thing that we really have is to get those seats changed in midterms. As was spoken by Miss Alice, that these town hall meetings are like far and in between. They know that these town hall meetings are going to cause them a whole lot of problems at those meetings. But the Democratic Party is really having a really rough time. They wanted Senator Van Hollen actually to take Chuck Schumer's place. That's what the talk is about. They want him to take over with that because of the decisions that Chuck made. But the Democrats have a lot of work to do. We have to focus on the midterms. We must certainly have to expose these people constantly and get out there and get the word out, because that's our only course is to change what's going on in the Senate and the House.
I wanted to put this out there. When you look at Chuck Schumer, when you look at McConnell, are these old white guys out of touch?
Yeah, they don't care. They hate us. They want the power.
Their leadership.
Mitch McConnell,
Isn't that just as egregious as Trump coming in there? I mean, Schumer, McConnell. I just saying, my God, they've been there since Harriet Tubman.
At
pretty
least.
much. Yeah.
McConnell isn't anymore. He has decided he's going to step down. I forgot how long he's been there, but Schumer's been there for a while, not as long as McConnell. And so it's a big fight or discussion in the Democratic Party about his leadership of the Senate. So it's going to be interesting. In fact, Schumer was supposed to come to Pratt Library with this book he had written about anti-Semitism, but because of the concerns for his safety, he has canceled his book tour. So that's kind of interesting. Just that alone.
Okay, let me put this on the table. What about the Gaza Strip?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, please.
We kind of didn't want to go there, but there's also Danny, what's happening in Gaza.
You look at what's going on in Gaza. It's just like insanity. It's insanity. It's like
it's genocide.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the killings, the constant killings, and no aid. U.S. aid is gone, and people are dying, because of hunger and all bombings. It's just, it's terrible. It's hard to watch.
And then the last thing I want to put on the table in this series is South Africa. Elon Musk comes from, his family comes from the Netherlands, the Dutch. But do we forget that the Dutch went to South Africa? They conquered the land. They put the South Africans on 10% of the land, the worst part of the land. Everybody knows that Southern Africa is rich with diamonds, including blood diamonds.
Right.
And these diamonds, everybody knows who dominates the diamond market worldwide, whether it's Russia, whether it's South Africa. And we know the direct link to the Gaza Strip. And then you look at Jared Kushner and the interrelationship of Israel. So this is clearly the erasure of Black people, of people of color, for a minority group to dominate the world. I just wanted to put it out there.
Because it's real.
It's real.
It's real, and nobody wants to really talk about it out loud. But this has been going on, and this moment has finally come because they've been working towards that all along, chipping away, getting rid of laws, moving people out of the way. Some people even were murdered. So we sit down and we look at how do we even get there from here when you've got the majority of white racists who want to annihilate people with any kind of melanin in their skin.
Come on, Alice. I heard you saying something.
In my travels to South Africa, I had a chance to go to see the cell where Nelson Mandela was held.
Robben Island?
Yeah, Robben's Island. And it was very interesting, the fact that when he came out of being incarcerated, they did not allow him to come directly out of jail. They sent him somewhere else so that he could get acclimated to being free before he announced that he was going to be free. South Africa is a very interesting place, and what I found interesting was the fact that it's very developed, but we still have people that are in these shanty areas in South Africa. However, it has gotten better than what it was during the apartheid area. It was interesting that Trump had offered citizenship to the South Africans who are in the United States. And the South Africans said thank you, but no thank you. But what I'm also finding interesting, the fact that he's selling these gold bars, what is it, $5 million? And if you pay the $5 million, you automatically become a citizen. So, I mean, that's grifting, and it's just, you know, it's not interested. They're not interested in anybody from the black or brown country. They're interested in folks that are none of those, neither black or brown to come to this country. You can buy your way in. So it's a whole big grifting situation.
So let me bring this on back home. Danny, you are involved in the State Central Committee politics here in the state of Maryland. When two black women, Angela Gibson and Lakeisha Brown Wright Eel, voted for Dahlia Attar in the 41st District, a seat that was black, Lisa Gladden beat Barbara Hoffman. She then passed the ball to Jill Carter.
Mhm.
Jill Carter gets an appointment. I'm going to put this question out there. Did Jill Carter fail the black community?
Ooh, ooh.
Did she fumble the ball?
She did a lot of things.
She's secure now. She's got a nice
that's
job. But did she leave the ball unguarded?
Well, you know, it should have been automatically already set in stone who was going to take her seat before she left. They should have already had that all worked out. And for it not to have been worked out, to me, it makes no sense. And then the folks that did voted against, I think it was, what's the brother's name?
Malcolm Ruff.
Yeah, he was a brother who they just thought he was going to be the one who replaced her. But at the last minute, maybe it wasn't the last minute, maybe somebody was meeting behind the scenes. Right. But for that to happen like that, it just destroys the black community.
They knew Angela Gibson was not going to vote for Ruff. She is a black woman.
Yeah.
But they thought Lakeisha Brown Wright Eel was going to vote for him.
And that happened at the last minute.
Flip-flopped.
But why?
But what happened?
They both ended up putting their names in the ring for delegate.
And none of them received it and end up to not end up getting the seat. So, you know.
They went home with a cigarette.
That's
right. They didn't even get a cigarette. No, they went home,
man,
with nothing.
See, and that's the saddest thing there is. I tell people all the time.
Better communication. Why would
communication?
It's when decisions are made like that, you destroy black communities for decades, for generations, and those are the things that happen.
Give away the power.
Right.
Give it away. And those are some things that have happened throughout. I think I had a discussion probably in 2022 when a senator put a white guy on a ticket over a black guy, and now the white guy's in, and that's changed the whole dynamics of a district that will be like that for years.
Mm-hmm.
For years, by one person deciding to make a decision to support a white kid over a black guy who had done the work for 10 years.
Check this comment out. Michael Randolph down in Tampa says Trump is the best thing that happened to black people and that he is bringing black people together. Now we understand that we are our brother's keeper.
Oh my stars. What is this? Who is this guy?
He said they are about to defame Dr. King's name when they release the files on him.
Man, yeah, we just gotta pray, man, because things
we got to fight.
Pray and fight.
And that's why we need this black media.
Jesus.
I think it's time for me to go down to Merch and Gorda.
Remember about the black guy that's with Trump that is running for governor of Florida. Oh, what's his name? Jamaican parentage. The last name begins with a B. And he too has been condescending regarding our lack of
Byron Donalds.
well, yeah, Donalds. That's it, Donalds. Yeah, I think Trump has endorsed Donalds for the governor of Florida. Whether he's going to win or not, I don't know. But anyway, he has not been, as true to us as he should have been. So that's going to be an interesting situation to see if he will become the governor of Florida. I doubt it, but who knows?
Donnie, this week was crossover. Crossover day was Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday was the last day to crossover bills from the House and bills from the Senate to the House. A lot of getting down to the wire for the General Assembly for this year, and all these taxes, this business to business taxes. They want to tax sweeteners. It's just a lot of stuff going on in the General Assembly in the state of Maryland, and I don't know, what the conclusion is going to be, but you got to figure out a way to get this deficit under control. You look at these other areas around us; they have a surplus, and here we are, with this problem, huge problem. A lot of them they're trying to blame it on the blueprint and this, that, and the other, but we have a serious problem.
Well, one of the things that happened was the fact that when our former governor was there, they said we had a surplus.
Well, that was just through the COVID. That was COVID funds.
Wait a minute, but we didn't have the surplus.
No,
so we still have Kerwin to fund for education. That's a lot of changes in that. That's going to cost a lot of money. So what they're going to have to do is to go back. Well, I know they're not putting the tax on the sodas, and they're not putting the business tax in, but we still have a shortfall. So what they've got to finish doing is to working on it. Yes, they had the crossover day, but they have a ways to go yet as far as the budget is concerned. And some of the conservative folks are trying to lay this at West's feet to try to make him look less desirable as a candidate.
Yes, they are. And the Republicans are sitting there and just smiling because they're going to use this against them in the second term. But that's just politics. You got to work through it. I think they were saying a 1% tax, a 1% on property taxes. I heard in the state. Is that something they're talking about?
Yeah, they talked about that. The tax of the property, raise the property tax, and taking away the day when you could go to shop, and have the taxes removed from the shopping. They were talking. That was being discussed. And I'm trying to think of a couple other things.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
Are we as astute as we should be as a community politically?
I don't think so.
No.
Many people are trying to make sure they can pay their rent and buy food. And so a lot of them are not attending to what's actually going on. And so that is the problem because they're trying to make it from day to day.
Survival.
That's right. You have BG&E bill is just making everybody run around and just scratch their heads and wonder how they're going to make it.
That is true. And if they take away trying to fool with Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, some of these folks that voted for this administration are going to really feel it and realize that they made a mistake. Some of the things that are being considered in the national budget.
So are seniors going to have to go and get a part-time job to supplement their Social Security?
Some of them may have to. Let me tell you my experience with Social Security. I called Social Security the other day because I wanted to make sure some information that they had for me was correct. I called them in the middle of the day and they told me I had a 2-hour wait. So I hung up the phone. Then I found out that they were open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the evening. I called Social Security 8 o'clock on the dot. They told me I had a 30-minute wait. I'm sorry, 20-minute wait. I waited about 45 minutes and they still didn't pick up the phone. In the meantime, I got a message saying that if I wanted a call back to leave my information and they would call me back, I wouldn't lose my place in the line. So ultimately, in about another 20 minutes or so, I did get a call back from a live person and was able to conduct my business. So can you imagine what it's like if somebody's trying to file a claim? They tell you how many months you got to wait if you file a claim, and that's a big recording that goes on while you're waiting. So it's going to be murder for people that are really trying to get disability or filing getting ready to file for Social Security and all of that. I just feel so sorry with what's going on with all these agencies.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
We need to stay in prayer.
Wow.
This country is imploding.
Do you foresee a race war? Does anyone foresee a race war?
I'm hoping and praying not, but there's some folks on the other side who have been predicting that there would be a civil war.
Well,
Can this country afford a civil war? Doesn't that make us weak internationally?
Trump's stirring the pot.
But white folks are being just as affected as blacks are with these, when you talk about Social Security and veterans and all that kind of stuff, it's not just focusing, it's just not black people who are going through these traumatic times too. It's those white folks who voted for Trump as well. It's just a real problem that we have that's everybody is being affected by it.
Well, the saying goes that when the other folks catch the white
We
folks
catch pneumonia.
a cold, black folks get pneumonia.
I remember in 1929, as the story was told to me, it was white people jumping off buildings, not black people.
Yeah, yep, that's right.
Well, let's hope nobody jumps off a roof, but let's hope something can be done to ameliorate this situation. I don't know if folks realize it, but Trump and the Kennedy Center. Trump
He took over.
And what happened was the vice president and his wife went to attend a concert, and they were roundly booed by the people in the audience. A lot of the people who had booked to bring programs to the Kennedy Center have canceled. I know Hamilton was supposed to come. Issa Rae was supposed to come. Quite a few folks were supposed to come. So now the people that are in the unions at the Kennedy Center are complaining because they're saying they're losing their salaries because the people have canceled. Yep. So we're waiting to see what kind of folks and who Trump is going to bring to the Kennedy Center and how many people are going to attend when he sends his folks.
I say again, if Michelle Obama was out there showing her naked body, they would have trashed her even harder. I mean, they already trashed her, but white people can do the same thing and worse and justify it. Oh, she was just showing the natural body.
That's America.
Well,
it's a double standard.
Right.
That's right. It's a crock of crap.
Right.
We know that.
Any final thoughts, folks? Thank you for joining us this morning.
No, thank you for having us. And I think we just need to all stay in prayer because this administration is going to create some real madness, and we need to make certain that we have a plan and have our communities ready and make certain that our local politicians are on top of it. We've got to work together. Now is not the time for egos. It's time for us to work. And this is, was that game they used to play with the cards and you throw them down? It's I declare war. We're not doing this. We're not going out like this.
Better stock up on cans of tuna fish.
Oh my God. Yeah, we gotta, I think, you said it right, Ms. Hughes, is that we must hold our elected folks accountable and all our Black, organizations as,
What does that mean, Danny? We
Well,
just lost the 41st district. We
well,
gave up a damn Senate seat. You got a Black governor, a Black treasurer, a Black attorney general, and we just gave away a damn seat.
it's the people that are there. I mean, those folks, you can't elect folks like that. You got to vet these people. You can't just put anybody in office. You just can't.
Angela
do it.
Gibson is not new to turning her back on Black people,
But then
according to people in the 41st district.
Why is she still getting elected? Because it's a small percentage of people not voting. It's just a small number. Nobody's voting. Nobody's engaged. Nobody knows what she's not doing, or any of them that's not doing their job. That's right.
You understand?
Yeah, why is it? Well, what I'm saying to you, let me tell you something. We vet the people. We do our best to vet the best person in my district in Baltimore County.
Let's get pointed. Who do you have to replace Julian when he runs for county executive? Who's on your bench? Are you going to run?
It could be. It could be. That's what I'm saying. I mean, no, when I'll be real with you, Donnie, is that's
who do we
the
have on deck to replace Julian? He's running next year.
There's several people that are out here that are the names are floating around right now.
Like who?
Yeah, there's some names.
Who?
Right. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Because I haven't decided. Stay tuned.
I got faith in this German Shepherd, but I got faith in.
Well, we need to be playing. We need to be getting real strategic because this game is not for the faint of heart.
We playing checkers out there, man, and they are some of our best and brightest out Liberty Road. Come on, Arnie, give your final thought.
Well, my whole thing is we have to disseminate, we have to educate and disseminate. So we got to pass the word around and let people know, those people who are still trying to make it day to day, we still have to let them know what is going on and to try to get them involved in what's happening. You'd be surprised when issues come up that affect people in many instances beyond the day-to-day things, they'll get active and get involved. So that's what I think that's what my charge will be, because I'm texting and calling and doing all the time. And Danny, I'm always texting you stuff.
Yes.
And we just have to continue doing that and get people and make sure they're registered and make sure they try to get them as involved as they can be.
One of the problems in the Black community is we want to hold on to a damn seat
forever
until we 80, 90. And we've not groomed anybody to replace us.
That's the ego.
That's it right there, Donnie. That's it right there. That's it. It's power. And they taking those pages out. I mean, for some reason, we seem to always want to follow what white people do. I mean, just because Chuck Schumer and all those cats and Nancy Pelosi and all them in office forever and a day, that's not the way to do these things. You need to mentor folks and bring them in, just like on our jobs. We mentor people because, we know we're not going to be there forever, but that's a big problem. The problem is power. People don't want to give up power.
At all.
They should have been gave that power up.
And they don't want to train anybody either.
And they don't want to train anybody. And then when somebody does say anything about it, then you're the bad person. Oh, why are you talking about that person? Why are you talking about that person? Because our condition that we're in. Those people are in charge, but look what the condition we're in. Are we not supposed to say anything? You gotta be kidding.
I'm all for legacy. I'm all for supporting and celebrating what was done before, but this is a now fight.
There you go. That's right, Donnie. I'm there with you. We had a big rally. We just had a big rally. We'll end on this. We had a big rally on Baltimore National Pike and Rolling Road on the 6th of March. We've had Bill Ferguson was out there. Senator Signal was out there.
Everybody out there.
Everybody was out there.
So what?
Before Medicare, Medicaid, all of that. That's what that whole rally was about. Closing the building, wanting to sell the buildings for CMS. So we had a big rally out there. It was over 200 people that were out there.
So what?
Say it again.
So what?
So what?
What's the so what of
was the
the story?
outcome?
You had all of those people out there grandstanding, showing their faces for the camera. So what?
So what? It's a message, Donnie. I mean, you can say that. I'm not talking about, there's always going to be folks out there doing what they do, Donnie. That's just a given. But when I'm saying the core foundation of that was to show people that we were against what was going on in Washington, D.C., and that we cared about these folks. You know, even a woman who used to run Social Security, she was out there. I mean, it was that kind of thing. All that other stuff, that minutia, I don't even care about that. The point of is the grassroots movement that was there to show the people in that area and that were driving back and forth at that highly traveled section that we were out here and we were supporting, these folks that were being fired. You know, yes, it's just a rally. It's just to be out there with the people.
So when I asked you earlier, who do you have to replace Julian Jones? To me, if you got 200 or 300 people at Liberty, at Rolling Road and Windsor Mill Road, that should be the very next objective, is having a replacement that all of those people agree on to replace Julian Jones.
Well,
because
you know,
the only black councilman where you should have 2 black council people.
Well,
out there.
you know, we all about that, Donnie. 4 more, 2 more. We all about that. You know that. We are about all about that. And as you can tell, we did not get the support from these elected officials to make that happen. We should have had 2 years, 3 years ago. Power.
Why not? Why not?
Power. They want to hold on to power. They don't want to see anyone else around.
Julian is running countywide.
Sure.
You need a person to take his seat.
Of course, we know that. Donnie,
who do you have on deck?
They are working on names and people to do that. No one really has particularly stepped up per se, and no one has actually done that yet. But there are people who are talking about it. I get it. It should happen. Like back in the days, you always had somebody on deck. Back in the old school days, you always had somebody waiting and willing and ready to go. But that's not the dynamic out here. Unfortunately, it's just not.
So y'all gonna be a repeat of the 41st district?
No, sir. No, sirree, Bob. No, we're not that bad out here at all. Heck no. You heard it first. I mean, heck no. No such thing. None.
Thank you for joining us, Ani Alice, Marsha Jews, Danny Blount. Good morning, world.
Thank you, Donnie.
Thank